Hey there, it's Hank Gaming, founder of the National Coaching League, coming here to show you the 6 things to score a listing. Now, back when I was buying investment properties, I had a very quick scoring system where I could look at a property, quickly do some math to know that if I wanted to investigate it further on whether it was a good deal or not. What I did was I took that concept and put it towards listings because I saw that there was a trend with my listings. They either sold very quickly, they sold within the first, I would say 45 to 60 days, or they took a year. So what I did was I started looking at different categories, and I'm going to share with you that system that I used in order to do that. It's called the 6 things to score a listing. Now this is super high tech. Look at this. Look at this. Drum roll, please. First one is price. I know, ground-breaking stuff, right? Hank, you're meaning to tell me if you price a property right, it's going to sell? Yes, it's one of the categories we're going to sell with. Don't need to explain it too much yet. We just got done building our home here, and the reality is if I put a price tag on our home for $100,000, people would be lining up the door, I'll buy it. So price does drive a lot of this. Second thing is, drum roll please, condition. Now, one thing that we know is if the house is in great condition, it's going to be much more likely to sell on many different reasons. One, if they've been proactive on keeping that house in order, chances are they've been proactive on the things that you can't see. If a house is a dump, you know that what else have they let go for quite some time. So condition is the next thing that we're going to score it on. And now I like to score these on a scale of 1 to 10. You can also do 1 to 5. It doesn't matter, whatever works best for you. Because what you're going to do is you're going to establish what your scoring system is. Third one is, drum roll please. I know you're thinking, wow Hank, this is some stuff I never even thought of. Brilliant. Stick with me here. Third thing is the sign. Here's one thing that I would ask that you consider. Are you using a sign that every other agent uses? Now, one of my requirements for choosing a brokerage when I did was I wanted flexibility in my signs, because here's the thing is it's advertising. Now, if you have the same company sign that everybody else has, that puts you at a disadvantage, because what happens is your subconscious mind can only pick up so many things, and it blends into the background. Now, with having a sign that sticks out, people are going to see your sign around. They're going to start to, you know, I used Sold by Hank. And Hank is a catchy name, and people would say, man, I see your signs everywhere. It wasn't that I had more signs than the average agent. I had obnoxious signs. One of the signs that I used was a triangle sign. The other sign that I used was a cedar post that was shellacked. It was really nice. This actually came from the guy that I joined when I first started. His name was Brett. Everything was nice. Shiny cedar posts. And the thing was, those signs stood out. The other thing is, if somebody's driving a neighborhood and they want to live there, they've got to know that your house is for sale. So I know sometimes people don't want their neighbors knowing they're for sale. You know what? Screw them. Don't take a listing if they're not going to let you put a sign out in the yard. It's like, hey, let's go fight an MMA fighter with an arm behind their back. That just doesn't even make any sense. So next thing is sign in the yard. Ready? Bet you haven't heard this one before. Location, location, location. Let's face it, if a property's on a lake, that's going to have a lot better chance to sell than if it's 40 miles outside of town. So location is going to make a big difference. You know, school district. There's certain school districts, I imagine, in your area where if a house comes up for sale, just the fact that it's in that school district is going to give it a lot better chance to sell. Now the fifth one. Now this is where I'd like to spend just a little bit of time. Internet presence. See, they have all these bells and whistles these days, like photographers. Some of these photographers can make properties look just flippin' fantastic. And then you show up there and you're like, is this the same house? Now, I never had the opportunity to do internet dating or anything like that yet. This is the analogy that runs in mind. Well, you know, my wife sent me a picture of her before we started dating. I was interested to see what she looked like. I mean, she sounded sexy as all get out. Hopefully she doesn't watch it to this point. And in my mind, I had a vision of what she looked like. When she sent over the picture, I was like, dang! And I was like, yeah. And here's the thing. Can sometimes people get a good picture and then you show up and their picture doesn't look anything like what they are? I mean, some of you real estate agents have the same picture from 20 years ago and people show up and say, oh, are you the assistant? All right, squirrel. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Present the houses accurately. You know, if it's a piece of beep, then show it as a piece of beep. You don't want people showing up expecting one thing and getting something else. That's one of the biggest problems that I see with people is they don't accurately market the property. Because when people show up expecting one thing, you're probably attracting the wrong buyers if you aren't marketing it in such a way that's accurate. So anyways, and if you're on an online dating site, give them a picture that accurately displays you. This is fun. I miss doing this kind of stuff. All right, last one. Last one is probably the most important one. Who here can tell me what PETA stands for? Pain in the ass. I know I probably shouldn't swear yet. This one's important. Here's the thing is if you work with people who are a pain in the butt, they're gonna refer people that are gonna be a pain in the butt. Think about if they're a pain in the butt from the beginning, what's gonna happen when things go a little array in a real estate transaction? Because you and I both know at the beginning is the honeymoon period. Once the negotiation starts and the deals start getting a little bit hairy, that's when, just think about this. One of the best scripts that you can learn is no. You know, I remember when I was selling real estate, I worked with a guy and he was just a jerk. And he called me up to go sell his house again and he's like, ring, ring. I was like, hello, this is Hank. My wife loves saying that shit. Whenever my phone rings, she goes, hello, this is Hank. Anyway, squirrel. So this guy calls me up. He's like, Hank, I want you to come list my house. And I go, no. And he goes, what? I go, dude, you were a jerk to me when I worked with you. I mean, no matter what I did, you just weren't nice. I'm sorry. I don't want to put myself through that. And he goes, I can't believe you're saying this. I said, neither can I. It just kind of came out. And he goes, you know what? When I was going through that, I was going through some challenges with my wife. I was going through a new boss that came in and that was just bullying me around. And you know, I owe you an apology. And I owe you an apology because I took it all out on you. Now, here's the thing is we ended up working together. The guy ended up being great. Yet you want to be able to have those fierce conversations up front. I would even encourage you to have an uncomfortable conversation in that listing presentation to see how they're going to respond with you. Push them back a little bit. Get them a little bit irritated with you. And when you can sense that going on and you get done with it, say, hey, I want to see how we're going to work together when we got to have a real conversation. Because here's the thing is I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. Now, some agents will take a listing and knowing that they're going to wear you down and they'll take a listing for 12 months. Agents, I'm going to tell you take a listing no longer than 96 days. If you can't sell that house in 96 days, after 96 days, you're tired of looking at that listing. They're thinking you're the problem. So why not just take a listing for 96 days and if it doesn't sell, cut them loose and move on to the next. Because I bet if you track your numbers, your listings either sell in the first 96 days or they take way longer and they end up being a pain in the butt. So why not just take shorter listings? All right, so next step. Now what I'm realizing is I may have to move up the camera a little bit. So all right. Guess I should have gotten the name brand, stick 'em. All right, so what we have here is we've got a property name here. If you've been in the real estate industry for a year or 2 years, I'd like you to go back and score your previous 20 listings. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna do what we call benchmark. You're gonna benchmark a scoring system. So let's say City Street is a street that my wife and I lived on. And we sold that house. Now, when I priced the house, I knew that we were pricing that at probably about a 9+. Now, what I mean by that is we didn't do it at rock bottom price yet. We knew that it was right there in line and was going to create some interested parties. Second thing is condition. I would say that it was at a 9. And I say a 9 because we had some kids. It wasn't perfect yet. We had custom paint throughout. I mean, overall, it was in pretty darn good shape. In fact, the people that moved in, they said they didn't have to do a thing. All right, third one is sign. I'm going to say it's at a 10. And the reason I'm going to say it's at a 10 because I had directionals all over the place. I had custom signs made. Hey, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, blah, 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 pointing Gull Lake schools. And so people were able to find the house. And then I had signs on the back of the property and on the front of the property. Location, I would say that it was at a 9. Now, the reason I'm saying it's at a 9, it was in a great school district. It was the furthest out or closest to town to the school district, so I would say that it was at a 9. I'd say internet presence was at a 10 because our house was accurately displayed on the internet, and we made sure we went through and checked Zillow, Realtor.com, all of those other sites to make sure that everything was streaming through properly. Pain in the ass score. I mean, I had to work with myself. Yeah, I put that at a 10 because I'm a great guy to work with, right? So now what we do is we add up these three. 9 plus 9, 18, 28, 30, oh my gosh. 28 plus 9, take away 2, we got 37, 47, 57. So this one scored at 57. I knew in my scoring system, if anything landed between 55 and 60, I could plan on less than 30 days for sure. Most of the time, it was going to be 10 days or less. Now, here's the cool thing is, imagine going through this scoring system for your last 20 listings. What you're going to do is you're going to start to benchmark in what you're going to score them based on when you originally took the listing, and then you could also score them on once you made changes to price, condition, etc. Now what you're going to find is you're going to have benchmarks. You're going to find that all your properties at, let's say, between 55 and 60 sold within 10 days or less. Now this is where it gets cool. Let's say you got Nelson Lane and you're going through with a customer and you're going to say, all right, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like us to score your property on a scale of 0 to 10. You're going to score it on your own, and then I'm going to score it on my own, and we're going to match up numbers. So let's say that Nelson Lane just happens to be another property that we sold. Let's say the price was at an 8. Condition was at a 9. It was in a condo, so we weren't able to really get the signage that we wanted. So we're going to say it's more at a 7. Location, it was within the village, so a little bit higher taxes. We'll say it was at a 7. Internet presence, again, we'll say it was at a 10 because what I said earlier. And then we'd say PETA was at a 10. So now we add these up. We got 15, 14, so that's 29, 39, we got 49. So 49 puts us right here. Now, oftentimes what I find is clients will end up scoring pretty accurately, especially if you frame it properly. And what will happen is you're going to end up, and there may be a discrepancy in what your number is versus their number. Now, this is where it's cool. If you can show your previous 20 properties and where they scored and how many days they were on the market, you can say, well, we both agree that you're at a 49. Now, what we know about properties that score a 49 is that they stay on the market from 45 to 90 days. Are you okay with that? And you know, they say, well, we're not in a hurry to sell. Are you okay with the fact that you're actually going to net less money by being on the market for 45 to 90 days? Now, that's for a different video that we can go into on how you work that all through. Now, what we want to do is we want to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's go ahead and take a look at the areas that we're able to up our score. In order to go from an 8 to a 10, I believe that we got to hit another price bracket. You're at $210,000. I believe at $200,000, that puts us at a 10. Now, here's the thing, $10,000, that's a big difference, right? Well, what's the reality if we list at $210,000? What's the reality of us getting a full price offer after we've been on the market for 45 days? Zilch. Chances are we're probably going to get an offer at 205 or 200, and we now have another 2 months worth of carrying costs. So an offer in 45 to 90 days at 205,000 is the equivalent of a full price offer at 200,000 right on day one. Now I know there's variables that go on here, and the variables might be, well, you're going to have a housing payment regardless of where you're at. Yet where this really comes into play is, what if interest rates go up during that time period? We know right now interest rates are as low as they're going to get. What happens if you're making a payment on a rental situation during that same amount of time? See, what we've got to do is we've got to show them by selling quickly, you're actually going to net more money the majority of the time. Now, the other thing, sign yard, there's not much that we can do there. In location, there's not much we can do there. So really, we're looking at price, and we're looking at condition on what we can improve here. Because the sign, there's not much that we can do. We could probably get away with it for about a week before the homeowners association gets mad at us. Will I drive 16 to 55 knowing if I get a ticket, I'll pay the ticket? Yeah, sometimes. You know, will I go 55 in a school zone where I know there's a reason for that law and it's keeping somebody from getting hurt? Absolutely not. Now, will I go 16 to 55 in a situation where they say you can't have signage? Yeah, I'll do that. So, all right, here we go. What I want you to do is play with this scoring system. You can even add in other things that you would like to do. The most important thing that you need to do is add benchmarking so that you see a trend on what's going to happen. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you did find this helpful, depending on where you watch this from, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find me, Coach Hank, on Facebook. That's where I post a lot of stuff. Friend me if you want. I think I got about 20 spots left on the friend list. And if there's any other topics that you would like me to dissect, and we might even get a little bit better technology where we can bring this in, maybe Henry will do that. Anyhow, hopefully you found this helpful, and if you are interested in coaching, depending on when you watch this, I have one-on-one coaching, I have group coaching where there's 12 people on a team. That's where these little pictures are for. 12 people on a team where we work on accountability, we work on scripts and dialogues, we work on situational situations just like this where we'll dive into. Might even be willing to share a spreadsheet with you. Yeah, this is a pretty basic spreadsheet, which most of you should be able to figure out. So that's all I got. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's 17 minutes of your life that you'll never get back. And if you like this, share it. Tell a friend about Coach Hank. Later.